At this stage of the day, we're going to what is a rarity in South African racing, a race that goes past 3,000 meters, or is 3,000 meters. So, yeah, I mean, in this race, a lot of these horses are targeting the Gold Cup at the end of the season. So generally, the top four that run here, you can look for massive efforts in the Gold Cup. So a few of these would be underdone. I mean, it is a different year, and we'll be running a Gold Cup at the end of August, which is a whole month later. But on recent form, Imperial Ruby is all the rage. He is a 3-year-old. The only concern for me is that he's got a massive turnaround with a few fillies that he met in Joburg when he ran last time. So, I mean, he came from last and just put Factor 50 on the line in the Gold Bowl. Factor 50 has a massive weight turnaround, good draw in Gavin Arena. So I think Factor 50 is a massive runner in this race. Another horse is Sunshine Silk. If she was not carrying 54.5, I think Gavin Arena would have had a hard decision to make, because he was actually looking to ride her at a stage. And I was trying to get Kellen on, but we have to ride for Mark de Kock on Commander, who I think also has an outstanding chance. She ran last week, unfortunately, because of the delayed Oaks. But we think she's an out-and-out stayer, and she should be competitive. So I think the fillies are very well in here. They've got good weights. Another horse that I do think is well in is Wealthy. Comes in with 55.5 kilos, and he ran 4th in this race last year. As I said, I'd imagine he'd be being prepped for a Gold Cup run. But I thought he was a massive runner in this with Sean Veal and the Dennis Dreyer stable. Dynasty's Blossom's also very interesting. She gets Warren Kennedy. She ran 2nd in this last year before actually winning the Gold Cup at the end of the month. And the booking of Warren Kennedy is very interesting, because he doesn't usually ride for Brett Crawford's stable in KZN. And yeah, I think she's an interesting runner. We'll see how she goes.
I must admit, when I was looking at it, I was going to ask you what you thought about Pomander with Callan taking the ride, just because I went back and watched that run 2 starts back in the Oaks behind Summer Pudding, and you look at the way in which she travelled up on the bridle, and then when Callan's asked her to go, she's really given that strong kick. I mean, Summer Pudding, obviously, an outstanding filly, but I really liked the way in which Pomander finished off there down on the inside. Last week, again, travelled up on the bridle, but it was that week delay. Didn't find a lot, but I thought the exact same thing that you said. I thought she just looked an out-and-out stayer on everything I'd seen. And obviously, 3-year-old filly gets in well enough at the weights. I thought she made a lot of interest here. There were a number of chances. I remember Dynasty's Blossom last year. We were trackside and we were watching her price tumble in. I think she opened up at something like somewhere near 25 to 1, and she went off single figures on the tote. And I just remember she was only just beaten by memory. She raced up like she was going to win, and Walter Smoothie beat her. But Dynasty's Blossom, I'll be interested to see what she does. But plenty of chances. You mentioned Factor 50. Obviously, the interest with Imperial Ruby after that big win last time out. Again, it's actually looking a pretty deep and interesting race, which is always nice to see. You get a good betting race. For me, I'll have something on Pomander.
Yeah, and you were 100% right about Dynasty's Blossom. I think I've got a J open up 25 to 1 and went off 13 to 2. So
wow, there you go.
I was happy about Walter Smoothie, as it's a friend of ours, and he purchased the horse in training, and we're happy that it was able to get the job done for him on such a big day. But the nice thing for me here is that as you say, it's quite a deep race for a staying event, and generally we don't have the best of stays in South Africa. I mean, we can't mince that. But the nice thing to see is that you got Pomander, who's a 3-year-old filly, and she looks an out-and-out stayer. I think some of the progeny of Flower Alley are complete stayers, and I think it's a big plus to have breeders like Maritintin, Volkerbos, and a couple of others that still bring in these start pedigrees and try to breed the classic horse. So yeah, it's an interesting race. I do think the fillies have a little edge just at the weights. I think they're very well weighted.